About the tour. Which part? Oh, the Big Four thing. Yeah, there's rumors going around. In the beginning of heavy metal in the United States, there were 4 bands known as the Big Four, and that was Megadeth, Slayer, Metallica, and Anthrax. And it's funny, whenever I have a new record coming out or anything like that, there's always something like this that perks up to kind of distract the interviews away from my interviews to something other than that. So this is nothing more than a rumor. People are saying that the 4 bands are going to get together and tour. We haven't heard anything about this other than just rumor and conjecture. So we are out with Slayer, which is fantastic, and we're trying really, really hard right now to mend broken fences and just to, do the right thing with these guys, because the fans love Megadeth and Slayer. The idea of us playing together, they're losing their minds. We went into Canada. It was just over the top metal, euphoria for these kids. We're going down to Australia. I'm leaving on the 2nd down there to New Zealand, Australia, then Japan, and then we're coming back. We're going into Canada, and God willing, we'll be bringing this package into the States someday.
And people can find out the tour dates around the globe at Megadeth.com. Death with an E, ladies and gentlemen. Megadeth.com. Dave Mustaine joins us, ladies and gentlemen, and we're very honored to have him. Dave, getting back into the whole global system, the whole New World Order, in a nutshell, if you feel like it, give us your worldview on the power structure. You seem to be doing a lot of research on it, and where you believe the planet is going and what the end game really is.
Well, that's a heavy question there to do all that. I'll try my best. Okay, I was brought up as a little kid. I got baptized at 4 as a Lutheran, and then I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness. And then I revolted and got into witchcraft and black magic, and then spent subsequent almost dozen years, or the following 12 years or so, trying to get rid of the demonic oppression I got by putting hexes on people. And then I became a Christian. So, I've been brought up around so much different religiosity. I'm kind of like Sybil, you know what I mean? And when it comes down to me thinking about how things are going towards the end, I have a very distorted view of it, because I've been just brainwashed by the Jehovah's Witnesses. So, when Christmas time comes around, I'm thinking, well, geez, what's the tree? What's all this crap? So, anyways, when it comes down to what my understanding is that there's going to be a final war at the end, and the whole way that the Antichrist plays out. This may alienate some of your listeners and stuff. I don't mean to make anybody feel bad or alienate.
You're allowed to have your view. Tell us.
Right. The problem is that I just am cautious about this, Alex, because there's so many people that say that they're Christian, and they come off telling people that they're not doing stuff right. And I don't want to do that, because I'm a different kind of person.
No, but we want to know your view. You're not preaching. Tell us.
Right. Okay, good. I just need to say that, because I just don't want to miss out on
No, it's an important preface.
So what I think right now, I'm watching the president, what you just said about him becoming the president of the UN, and I'm watching all these other things happen, like to say that one of the prophecies that came true in the Bible came from when Israel became a country again. And that was a prophecy. It was said that Israel would become a nation again. Well, it's a nation again. That happened back in the 60s, but it happened. So, my belief is that there's going to be a new world order. There's going to be one guy that's going to run the world. There's going to be one currency that's around everywhere. They're going to try and get you to take the RFID chip. That's the mark of the beast that they're going to use to buy and sell things. And then, like you had brought up so brilliantly in your movie about Rockefeller, saying that if they don't like you, they're just going to turn your chip off.
Absolutely.
So, all of this stuff is mind-boggling, because you don't really hear about all the technology and stuff like that in the Bible, but the Bible's the basic text I try and live my life by. And I still have a dirty mouth, and I still look at women and have kind of terrible thoughts sometimes. But, as far
hey, you're
as
not a Pharisee. Look who Jesus hung out with. He didn't hang out with the Pharisees saying how great they were. He hung out with people who were trying to have a pure heart. Look at David. Look at David. Had people killed so he could have their women, but he repented, and so God said, that is a man after my own heart.
Right. Well, I just don't want people to try and find holes in what I'm saying because, they've heard me say something in the past that was terrible. And I know I've done that. That's one of the things that I'm working on with the whole Slayer tour is that, 19 years ago, Alex, I said something, but people are still holding on to it, and they keep bringing it up, and it keeps causing problems with me and with the guys in Slayer. Bottom line is I don't feel that way anymore, and I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for me to go into an area where, there's a lot of people that cast aspersions and say all kinds of terrible stuff about heavy metal and the people in it. Yeah, there are people in it that are terrible, but I'm not, and I think that
it's very diverse. But Dave, I interrupted you when you were getting into your worldview. What do you think about the rapture? Because I've read the Old Testament, and it clearly says the beast will wage war against the saints and overcome them. How we're all raptured out beforehand can the beast wage war? How can he force people to take chips if everybody's submitting? And this is only a 150-year-old, 140-year-old doctrine of the pre-rapture. And so because everybody believes, I talk to these phony Christians, they won't fight any evil. They say, praise God, it's getting more evil. That means I'll be teleported out. I don't think Captain Kirk is going to teleport them off the surface.
Well, I don't believe in the rapture. I don't know enough about it to even know what it is. And the fact that, all of a sudden I'm going to be here and then I'm going to be someplace else. My understanding is that I'm going to be witness to, the great Armageddon. So, I don't know this particular part because that's a little bit more cerebral than I've gotten into it because I've only been a Christian for a little while, but it's certainly good fodder.
Well, that's amazing. I will tell you, I grew up in Dallas and saw a lot of occult stuff, and it was like an occult empire. I never really got into it, but, I'd date this super good-looking girl who was a couple years older than me and, and go to her parents' house, giant mansion, and find out they were Satanists. And I would go out with this, super hot chick and find out they were Satanists, and I'd be taken to a party. And there'd be police there, and I would get in my car and leave, and then they all got mad at me. The cops started pulling me over, because I was wild and mean and beat the hell out of people, and I guess came off as satanic, but I wasn't because I have love in my heart. But I think seeing evil and not being perfect and then changing allows you to understand things and have discernment that people that have had a sheltered life or never experienced the power of the satanic empire. I believe that once you've been a little bit on the other side of it, it almost gives you an advantage because now I've been on both sides of the coin.
Right. And that's basically what I was saying in the beginning about being able to have the credentials to talk to these fans, to be able to, to meet them where they're at. There's nothing worse than being lectured to. If someone wants to know something, as human beings, we have, most of us, when we're curious about something, they can take it they can get unhuman strength and be able to sit up for hours studying things, if they're interested in it. For me, if I'm not interested in it, I can be asleep within 30 seconds. So,
but because you've been into the occult, you can actually, if people ask you, explain, this wasn't fun for me, and they wouldn't listen to some preacher, but they'd listen to Dave Mustaine of Megadeth.
Yeah, they would, and that's the great thing about all of this, because I'm not misusing my celebrity to tell people what to do. We've always been really supportive of encouraging people to read. That's why I've tried to use words more than baby, baby in my songs. And that's why we've had stuff that's been really provocative, stuff that really encourages our listeners to stay in school and to do something good, to become great.
Well, Dave, this is incredibly powerful, what you're saying here today, and I know you're going to be a really great vessel for waking people up, but you say you've just now recently become a Christian. I think God's seal, the creator of the universe's seal, was on your heart from the beginning, because the fruits, you were the only heavy metal band that really didn't have that Satanism running through it, and everything you've done really was speaking against that system. And you said you didn't even understand what you were writing at the time. I think you were one of the lost sheep or the prodigal son. I think you've just come back home where you were always meant to be, but not in the false church, but in the real church that's in your heart. Well,
thanks. I'll accept that. I've always felt that there was something cool that there was a much deeper meaning to what I was doing playing on stage, because I don't practice, Alex. I pick the guitar up about 3 days before we go on tour, and I have to learn the songs again, and then we go out on stage and play. And I don't know how that happened. It just happened. I know that my sister played piano when I was a kid, and she asked me to play guitar with her, and I thought, absolutely, anything to drown out that noise. And I started learning how to play guitar, and I would put it down, and I wouldn't even look at it. I've lived in this new apartment here since my wife and I are separated. I've been here for almost a month. There's a guitar here. I haven't touched it. And it's really weird because, you would think that it would be something that would be an extension of my body,
Well, I mean, I think you're such a natural, and that it's something that you pick up when you go out there to perform, and just let it flow through you. We've got a final segment with Dave Mustaine. I know he's got some other stuff coming up. We'll see if I can twist his arm into 5-10 minutes more, because I want to be able to play a few more clips of his songs. But if he's got to leave us in about 10 minutes, I would imagine, Dave, that you'll join us again when you get back from Australia.
I would love to do that.
Amazing. Again, Megadeth.com, Dave Mustaine. We have links to it up on Infowars.com. The album is out. #1 record in the country, out of the gates right now at Amazon.com. People...